The deadliest enemy of the Roman Empire wasn't an army. It wasn't a rebellion, a failing economy, or even corruption. It was a microscopic force that wiped out millions, without warning, without mercy. What happens when the mightiest civilization on Earth is brought to its knees by an invisible killer? And what can we learn from their downfall to protect our own future? This is the story of the Antonine Plague, an ancient catastrophe that reshaped history and still holds lessons for us today. The Antonine Plague, which erupted in 165 CE during the reign of Marcus Aurelius, stands as one of the most devastating pandemics of the ancient world. Sweeping across the vast expanse of the Roman Empire, this deadly disease not only decimated the population but also left deep scars on the empire's economy, military, and society. Emerging during a critical period of Roman history, the outbreak tested the resilience of an empire already facing external threats and internal political pressures. Its impact would be felt for generations, altering the trajectory of Rome and offering an early example of how pandemics can reshape civilizations. The origins of the Antonine Plague remain a subject of scholarly debate, but the most widely accepted theory traces it to the Roman armies' campaigns in the East. In 165 CE, as Roman forces returned from their conquests in Mesopotamia, part of the larger conflict with the Parthian Empire, soldiers inadvertently carried the disease back with them. The precise nature of the illness remains uncertain, but many historians and medical experts believe it was either smallpox or measles, both of which would have been new to much of the Roman world. Without prior exposure, the population lacked immunity, leading to an exceptionally high mortality rate. The symptoms, as recorded by the renowned physician Galen, included fever, diarrhea, skin eruptions resembling pustules, and severe throat inflammation. Galen, who personally witnessed the effects of the plague in Rome and Asia Minor, described its course with a mix of clinical detail and philosophical reflection. His writings, though limited by the medical knowledge of his time, provide a crucial window into the experience of the afflicted. Those who survived often bore disfiguring scars, while countless others succumbed rapidly, sometimes within a matter of days. As the plague spread, its impact on Roman society grew increasingly dire. Cities, tightly packed and bustling with commerce, became breeding grounds for infection. With no understanding of germ theory, Romans sought explanations through religion, philosophy, and astrology, blaming the wrath of the gods or celestial misalignments for their suffering. The outbreak was so severe that at its peak, it is estimated to have claimed up to 2,000 lives per day in Rome alone. Across the empire, millions perished, with total death toll estimates ranging between 5 and 10 million people, roughly 10 to 20% of the population. One of the most immediate and severe consequences of the plague was its effect on the Roman military. The legions, once an unstoppable force that had expanded Rome's borders for centuries, found themselves weakened from within. Infected soldiers died in droves, and those who survived were often too weak to fight. Rome's enemies, including Germanic tribes and Eastern rivals, seized upon this moment of vulnerability, launching raids and invasions that Rome struggled to repel. The defensive strain left key territories exposed and forced Marcus Aurelius to recruit from less experienced sources, including slaves and gladiators, to fill the ranks. This dilution of the once disciplined army would have lasting repercussions on Rome's ability to defend itself in the following decades. Beyond the battlefield, the empire's economy suffered profound disruption. The loss of so many laborers crippled agriculture, leading to food shortages and rising prices. Trade routes, once the lifeblood of Roman commerce, slowed as merchants feared infection or simply died en route. With fewer taxpayers and soldiers to sustain the state, financial strain deepened, forcing the government to debase the currency, an early sign of the economic troubles that would later plague the empire. Even the ruling class was not immune. Lucius Verus, the co-emperor alongside Marcus Aurelius, is widely believed to have been one of the plague's victims, further complicating Rome's leadership in a time of crisis. Religiously and culturally, the Antonine Plague marked a shift in Roman attitudes. Traditional religious rituals and sacrifices intensified as desperate citizens sought divine intervention. Some turned to Eastern mystery cults, while others found solace in emerging religious movements, including Christianity, which emphasized care for the sick and the promise of an afterlife. Although still a minority religion at this time, the Christian response to the plague, through acts of charity and nursing the ill, would later be cited as one of the factors in its growing appeal. Galen, who fled Rome during the worst of the epidemic but later returned, played a key role in documenting the disease's effects. However, medical solutions remained elusive. Without an understanding of viruses or bacteria, treatments ranged from herbal remedies to bloodletting, none of which could halt the spread of infection. His accounts, though limited by contemporary medical knowledge, remain one of the best surviving records of the pandemic, shaping later discussions on epidemic diseases in the ancient world. In the broader arc of history, the Antonine Plague has been viewed as one of the first great pandemics to significantly alter a powerful empire. Some historians argue that it marked the beginning of Rome's slow decline, as the demographic and economic toll weakened the empire's long-term stability. While Rome would endure for centuries more, the Antonine Plague foreshadowed future crises, including the later Cyprian and Justinian plagues, which further destabilized the empire. When compared to other historical pandemics, such as the Black Death of the 14th century or the Justinian Plague of the 6th century, the Antonine Plague shares striking similarities in its societal impact. Each of these outbreaks led to labor shortages, economic turmoil, and shifts in religious beliefs. However, the Antonine Plague differs in that it struck at a time when Rome was still near the height of its power, making its consequences more of a warning sign than an immediate collapse. Despite the suffering it caused, the Antonine Plague stands as a crucial moment in world history, demonstrating how even the mightiest empires are vulnerable to the forces of nature. It serves as an early lesson in the fragility of human societies in the face of disease, a lesson that remains relevant in modern times. Whether through war, economy, or culture, the reverberations of this ancient pandemic remind us that history is often shaped not just by kings and conquests, but by the microscopic forces that move unseen through the world. I'll leave you to discuss in the comments. Could Rome have survived longer if this plague never happened? You can support us by subscribing if you haven't already. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and I'll catch you soon in another video.